There's just so much goddamn weight on my shoulders. All I'm trying to do is live my motherfucking life.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Operation American Freedom. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to talk about the problem with refugees. 3 main points: injustice to our veterans and improper use of funds, debunking the radical Muslim myth, and the thin skin of Muslims and the double standard showed towards Americans. Now, more than 500,000 people are homeless in America today, and 8.6% of that population is our homeless veterans. Now, this has come down since 2009 from right around 65% of homelessness was veterans. So you might be thinking, okay, we brought it down, why is it an issue? I'm going to explain to you why it's an issue. Now, I've got my notes here with all my facts. About 1.4 million other veterans are still at risk of becoming homeless. And now this is due to poverty, lack of support networks, dismal living conditions, and substandard housing. And the real problem gets in whenever you start looking at the refugee program for fiscal year 2017. Obama has requested right around $2,184,860,000. Now, the U.S. Department of Housing and U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs are awarding nearly $38 million to help more than 5,200 veterans. Do you see where the problem is? Do you see where we're heading? Do you see the direction America is in? We're helping radical Islamic terrorists. We're giving more to them and showing more effort for them more than we show our own veterans who are homeless in America. Now, to send your kid to school at a private college for 4 years is right around $125,000 for all 4 years. Now, this isn't Harvard, this isn't Yale, this is a good quality private college. The $2 billion and some change dollars that Obama's requesting for the refugee program could send nearly 18,000 kids to college. So Ira Mailman, a spokesman for the Federation of American Immigration Reform, said, "It will be more cost effective for the United States to provide financial assistance to Jordan and Turkey, which are housing the bulk of refugees who fled war-torn Syria. Those refugees would also have an easier time returning home fighting." So the administration is being told that there is a better route financially. But not to mention, Jordan and Turkey is basically a gateway for the refugees to flood into Europe. So now we have this big problem, this huge migration. And ISIS publicly said that they would send 500,000 soldiers into Europe through a crisis. Starting to sound familiar? So now let's talk a little bit about the myth of radical Muslims, that not all Muslims are bad, they're not all terrorists, they're not all radical. It's actually a small minority that are actually radicalized Muslims. Let's ask them. In 2011, a poll was taken from Muslims in the countries Indonesia, Egypt, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Iran, Turkey, Morocco, Iraq, Afghanistan, Jordan, the Palestinian areas, France, Great Britain, and the United States. Now, there are 1.6 billion Muslims on earth, so this isn't the entire Muslim community. They were asked if they supported Sharia law, which considers execution of gays, honor killings of women, and they also said that suicide bombings are sometimes okay on civilians. So out of the 942.4 million Muslims surveyed, 680,030,000 Muslims proved to be radicalized. Now, this is 14 countries. Total, there are 49 Muslim majority countries in the world. If we were to survey all the countries and show similar results, that would put us right above 800 million radicalized Muslims. We're then over half. That is not a minority, that is a majority. Since 2009, there have been 800,000 Muslim refugees brought into the country that our administration is willing to admit, 500,000 of which have proved to be radicalized. And our administration is defending them. Joe Biden, National Security Conference, gave a speech basically bashing Trump on his immigration policy. He says that the border wall, along with negative rhetoric about immigration, could destroy progress in the Western Hemisphere. He goes on to talk about Trump's comment regarding Putin being a real leader. He says, quote, adopting the tactics of our enemies, using torture, threatening to kill innocent family members, indiscriminately bombing civilian populations. That not only violates our values, it's deeply, deeply damaging to our society. He then went on to say, there are 1.4 billion Muslims in the world. Some of the rhetoric I'm hearing sounds designed to radicalize all 1.4 billion. Now, as we get into this, we find that these radicalists that are being brought into the country are doing the same things that he's saying we shouldn't believe in, that could damage our security. He goes on to say, and this is my favorite part, wielding the politics of fear and intolerance, like the proposal to ban Muslims from entering the United States, profiling Muslim Americans, slandering entire religious communities as complicit in terrorism, calls into question America's status as the greatest democracy in the world. First of all, if a little negative rhetoric from Donald Trump is all it takes to radicalize 1.4 million Muslims against America to come in here and kill us all, why in the hell would you want to bring them here? And Obama, he's on TV telling you that it's your duty as Americans to help these refugees. So in-depth studies have shown that there are 1.6 billion Muslims in the world. Joe Biden's saying there's 1.4 billion. When lives are on the line and people are coming into our country that might try to kill us, we need proper background checks. We need to know what these people, where they're coming from, what we can expect from them, and our administration can't even get a proper head count. So in conclusion, let's look at this from a common sense point of view. Our government is using our tax dollars to bring in Muslims into our country, which statistics show a majority of them are radicalized. And for the ones who aren't, they read from the same book and believe in the same principles. Now, you could say, oh, well, you're a racist and Donald Trump is a racist because of our beliefs on immigration. But Louis Farrakhan, one of the most prominent Islam voices in the world, even sides with Donald Trump. He says all Muslims need to be vetted before we let them into our country. He says that it's not the leaders of Islam who have called upon them to radicalize, but yet it's a reaction to U.S. policies. So whether it's the Quran or the American government's fantasy of a global police state is irrelevant. The fact is, the majority of them are radicalized now. And we're inviting them into our country. Our cultures will not merge. Here in the United States, we don't support beheadings of gays. We don't support honor killings of women. And we sure as hell don't support suicide bombings in the streets. To invite them in would be inviting social cataclysm.
I know they got a demon inside.